Hola hermanas, how are we doing? So for this topic of discussion for this video, it's gonna be kind of on the serious note. I'm gonna try not to do a bunch of serious videos just because that's kind of boring. I was going back and forth about doing a video on this related topic. It was just kind of on as to why I was kind of so in and off of YouTube for the people that care. But there are actually many factors as to why I was kind of so in and off with YouTube. There was a lot of it was not only financial but also kind of private and emotional type of reasons why I was kind of on and off on YouTube. So if you saw me from way the fuck beginning, I'm talking about 2000 and some shit, 2014, 15. I had started my YouTube channel. I was I think 16 years old, and I remember recording my shit on an iPad, and you were getting the worst fucking type of quality. I probably got copyrighted so many times for the music that I was doing, or the music that I had edited onto these videos. And girl, that makeup though. I mean, the makeup is it's not at its prime, but bitch, we've come a long way, haven't we? This is gonna tie into one of the reasons why I kind of was on and off with YouTube, was because I didn't have a good camera. I was recording all of my stuff on an iPad. If not, an iPad had moved from an iPad onto my iPhone, and they were all shitty quality, to be honest with you. I didn't have the budget to buy a camera at the time. At the time, I was looking into buying the Canon T4i. I think that's the camera that everybody was using at the time, and I didn't have the money for it. All of my expenses were going on to paying my car, paying my insurance. Insurance for an 18-year-old is no joke. Insurance for just myself is no joke, even if you drive a piece of shit car. After I graduated high school, I went straight to a community college, and so my main focus was making sure that I was on top of my grades and making sure that my bills were paid for. Now I went to a different factor of I didn't really have the time, and I say this because I would go into school at around 8 a.m. I would get out of school maybe around 1 or 2, and then I would go to my job right away. And then I would be at my job from whatever time to 9 p.m., 9:30 sometimes, and then I would come home and I would have homework to do. So my whole day just went there. And then not only that, but I also had to do studying and finals and stuff I mean, if you're a college student, you know what I'm talking about. So I was still very enthusiastic about doing makeup and stuff like that. I mean, even I was giving some shitty ass tutorials. But I was still playing with it because, like I said, I've always been very enthusiastic about makeup. And then drag came along. So if I didn't have time then, I for sure didn't have fucking time now. So I started doing drag a little bit after the whole makeup thing. And I think the reason why I started doing drag is because back then I used to be on a dance team. Now, if you know me, I fucking love to dance. I got a left foot and a right foot. I don't got two left feet. I can move. A bitch can move. I wasn't able to really dance in college just because I was so busy with what's it called, my schoolwork, and then going to schoolwork straight to work, and then making sure that I was on top of my academics. So like I said, I've always liked to dance, and I did makeup, and I was like, fuck it, let me dabble into it. One of my good Judies, Carlos, was a drag queen already, or he had already dabbled in drag, and I was telling him how I wanted to do it, and then we kind of just started doing it together. If you know me, or if you know me from the past, if you're one of Instagram followers, you know how I used to do drag. What's it called? I used to be a cheap asshole. I was a cute little thing. Can you believe it? Can you believe I would get hit up more in drag than as a boy? And I don't know. Some people got fetishes, but you know what? I ain't no one to judge. So everything was going fine and dandy. It wasn't until the whole dating scene started happening. I never really dated a lot, just because, like I said, I was so focused on stuff like that. But I was, I would go out with my friends, I would go out dancing and stuff like that. So the boys would start to get interested in me, and that was cool for me, whatever. And then it was up until the whole discussion of hey, can I follow you on IG? So, me being a pretty young thing, boys were starting getting interested in me, and I was like, okay, whatever, It would come up in discussion hey, let me follow you on Instagram. Now, like I said, it is hard to kind of date in the gay scene, but it's even harder for a drag queen or for somebody that me that plays with makeup and stuff like that, to even date, just because we're kind of the last people picked for the team type of thing. Now, I do understand that everybody has a preference. That's perfectly fine, whatever. But when I would share my Instagram with guys that were interested, whatever, I would get ghost mode straight off the bat, right after. And it even got to a point where believe it or not, I'm not trying to bash on our community or whatever, but we can't. Our community can be kind of hateful sometimes, or they can also be ignorant in a sense. One of the main answers, or one of the responses I would get from guys when they find out that I would do makeup and I would do drag was
well, if I wanted a girl, I would have gone with the girl.
And I'm like, that's the most ignorant ass motherfucking answer. I'm like, first and foremost, let me tell you, homeboy, like, we both taking dick up the ass, so like, there's no win-win in this situation, you know what I'm saying? So I would get the most ignorant ass responses, and it became a pattern. It became a pattern where it got to the point where it kind of like crushed my self-esteem. Like, I had an okay self-esteem, like, as a boy. Like, I was very thin. I was like a girl. I was like, what's that one word called? I was a twink, bitch. Now I'm a little bit more of a twunk, just because I do like weights and stuff like that, and I gym a lot. Yeah, my self-esteem was okay when it came to like me and drag, like, because I was a thin young thing. My self-esteem was like up here because I was one of the pretty bitches. My self-esteem kind of fluctuated. It did deteriorate a little bit when it came to like the whole dating scene, just because, like I said, any like beauty related stuff and even drag, we kind of are the last one to get picked, just because, you know, because we get labeled as femme. Now I will say this, you know, when I talk, and me and my friend Carlos have talked about this all, like, you know, all the time. We understand as to why we get labeled as femme, specifically like us, you know, whatever, because we do makeup and stuff like that, so we're considered to be more femme because yada yada yada. I don't consider myself to be femme, nor do I consider myself to be masculine. When I get into makeup and I get into my zhuzh, of course, bitch, I'm feeling my fantasy. Hello, like, bitch, I don't look this good all the fucking time. I'm feeling my fantasy. I feel great about myself. Like, bitch, like, this contour is on fleek. This contour is on fleek? Who the fuck says that? Oh my god. Like, this contour is done right. For sure my eyebrows are done right. This eyeshadow, you can't fucking touch it. And let me tell you, this natural glow, bitch, yeah, it's oil. People don't understand that because they don't really put in the time to get to know us. But like I said, I understand people have a preference, and that's perfectly fine. There's, you know, I'm not shaming you for it. It is what it is. Believe it or not, I had stopped doing makeup and like stuff like this. And I've said this before on my IG, like, I stopped doing makeup and drag, just makeup in general, was because of the boy. But it got to the point where, like, oh girl, I remember one day, I had stopped doing makeup for a while. I remember sitting there and I haven't played with my makeup in a really long time, and I had bought palettes and I had bought, like, what's it called, primers and foundation that I wanted to try out, but they were just kind of sitting in my bag for a real cool minute. And I remember trying to do my makeup, and I remember I was at the time I was texting my boyfriend. I was saying, like, hey, I'm gonna play with my makeup today, and he's like, oh my god, I haven't seen you playing with your makeup, and that said something. And I remember I was sitting there and I was like what the fuck? I was sitting there just like trying to blend and stuff like that, and I'm like, this is some caca bullshit. I'm like, girl, what the fuck happened to your skills? Now I'm not saying I was the most skillful motherfucker out there, but I could like turn out a look, like, at least to my understanding. I was looking at my work and I was like, girl, this contour is not right. This highlight, what the fuck? Like, girl, do you not know how to blend? This eyeshadow,
really, bitch.
You know, it was very that, and it kind of like, I kind of stood back for a little bit. I'm just like, I'm like, why did I stop doing makeup? It's not shameful, but it's a bad what's it called, state of mind to have. You know, like, you're prohibiting yourself from something that you really love, that you really enjoy, just because people are not okay with it. But another reason, oh, and this goes into reason 3 as to why I had stopped doing makeup for a while. If you know me, and if you see me, if you see my previous videos, you know that I had really bad skin. Like, I started breaking. I don't remember when I started breaking out, but I can tell you this, like, I wasn't really taking care of my face. Like, the only thing that I was putting on my face was soap. So the whole time that I wasn't doing makeup, I wasn't touching with makeup, I was taking care of my skin. I don't know if you noticed, but what's it called, I have a bunch of like acne marks here on my cheeks and stuff like that. I have them on my temples, and I had them on my jawline. It started on my temples, it started coming down, and then it went to my jawline. When it got to my jawline, that's when it really hit me. It really deteriorated from me. It sucked so bad. There was times I'm just like, I would sit there and I would just scrub and scrub, and I would get so irritated. Like, I was so irritated that I wouldn't cry. I couldn't deal with it. I felt very embarrassed and stuff like that. So it was another thing that was I was very self-conscious about. I'm just like, I would think of like YouTubers to be like, at least like makeup gurus on YouTube, to have very nice skin, and I'm sitting there with like pimples and stuff like that, and I would put on foundation and you would see it, and it wasn't the most prettiest feeling. But then when my acne started clearing up, I kind of was like, should I start putting on makeup again? Like, is it gonna like affect my skin? Am I gonna break out? And I just kind of took a leap of faith, and I'm just like, fuck it, just do it, girl. Like, if you break out, you break out. Like, all in all, I was kind of like upset with myself because like I was putting up all these excuses. Like, I was frustrated because I'm just like, if I would have kept going with this, I don't know how far I could have gone with this. With like the whole makeup thing, my whole family's been very supportive of everything that I do. Sometimes they question things that even that I myself question. But they've always been supportive 100% of like everything that I've done when it came to me coming out, to what's it called, to the whole makeup thing, and then the whole drag thing. They've always been 100% supportive of everything that I do. So it kind of frustrates me because I was sitting there just like, look, homeboy, like you have like the whole world, what's it called, rooting for you, and you're the one that's preventing yourself from doing this. Like there's no reason for you to not to be doing makeup or not to be recording makeup. You know, like everyone is supportive of you. You have a great support system. Not only your friends support you, but your family supports you. They know that you do this. You've done it in front of them, so there's no reason why for you to be hiding from it. You know what I'm saying? And I've had a great support system. Like when I told everybody that I wanted to really do this and really do it well, everyone was very supportive of it. My friends were very supportive of it, and it's kind of that great support system that you get that gets you very enthusiastic of, you know, doing something that you want to do. I am very excited about the projects that I have pending and the projects that I want to do. There's segments that I want to touch on here, touch base on here. I don't want to just be a makeup. Okay. Before we continue, I don't consider myself to be a makeup artist, and I'm not gonna label myself to be a makeup artist. I consider myself to be a makeup enthusiast. Before we continue, I want to explain to you why I say that. I consider myself to be a makeup enthusiast just because, like, when I think of makeup artists, I think of girls, well, not girls necessarily, girls, but individuals that go far beyond the makeup. Go into skincare, go into what's it called, what's your like your skin tone colors, and like are you warmth or you're cool, you know, type of shit. I don't really know that shit. I literally just slap it on my face and I just hope for the best. But I do want to do continue doing my makeup look just because that's kind of like the thing that I started with. But I want to be able to touch not more just beyond the makeup. I want to be able to collab with, you know, different makeup artists, my friends and stuff like that. I want to be able to do like segments on here. I kind of have like already topics in mind, and I'm hoping that I can like produce them well. But I am actually very excited for my channel. I'm very excited for the things that are gonna come. So yeah. So I hope you stay tuned, because let me tell you, we're gonna have a really good fucking time. I may not be the prettiest or well put together bitch out there, but let me tell you, los vamos a divertir.